Hello, spooky friends. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, this is Adam Diaz, and today we're here to read you folks some homegrown horrors. Adam, why don't you tell us what those are?
Homegrown horrors are the wonderful stories that you folks have sent us, and stories that can contain content like paranormal, supernatural, spooky, creepy, sometimes coincidental, and sometimes just straight up true crime. Or, sometimes you just want to reach out and tell us how your day's going. Not really. Those ones we typically don't read. We don't actually get those. But if you have a story like that's paranormal or true crime, and you want to send it to us, Robin, where can folks send it?
You can send it to our email, storytime@scariest.com. You can also send it to any of our social medias. We have a bunch of those. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can go to our website, scariest.com. There's a contact us page. You fill out that lovely page there, and it emails it to us that way.
Indeed. So if you have a story you would like to send it to us, we would love to hear it. We would love to read it if you're okay with that. So send it our way and let us know. Tonight we're going to be reading 4 different stories, and I believe I'm going to be going first. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it. That's cool with you? Cool. This first email we will read is called I Saw a Cryptid. Pretty good subject.
It's funny because one of my emails has cryptids in it too.
I saw one that came through that said something about superstition, and I decided that I was going to read that because 1, I've done the superstition topics in the past, and 2, I just did the superstition topic number 3 like 18 hours ago. So I'm excited to get to that one, but that'll be my second one for the evening. Anyways, it starts like this. Hello, Adam, Robin, and Spooky Mom.
Hello. That's us.
And my mom from downstairs goes, hello.
Why does she sound like this is Doubtfire?
I don't know. I'm glad that's what you got from it, because that's what I was going for. I'm so nervous about sending this to you, and I hope you enjoy it. You can definitely read this on the podcast if you want a cryptid story, which we do. I grew up in Birmingham, but my parents were avid hunters and had a cabin in rural Alabama in the woods along the, let me get this right, Tombigbee River, where we would spend a lot of time. Even out of hunting season, we would go there for fishing, swimming in the river, or just hanging out. It's so quiet down there, no phone at all, and we could only get one TV station on the tiny portable TV, and that was very fuzzy. So most of my and my sister's time was spent wandering in the woods, fishing, reading, learning to play musical instruments, and singing. It's pretty good shit.
Sounds like a fun time.
It really does, yeah. During hunting season, my parents would go hunting, leaving me and my sister to our own devices once we were old enough to stay in the house alone. Prior to that, they would get a local woman to come stay with us. They gave my sister and me a chance to hunt too, but neither of us really took to it. I guess we're both hypocrites that way, as we both eat meat. I don't think you have to be a hypocrite by not liking hunting. You can still support it, but just not actively participating in it,
Yeah.
So I enjoy meat. I haven't hunted in a very long time. I haven't shot a bow in 25 years.
I haven't shot a bow since high school, so...
Yeah, I haven't shot a bow since high school. I haven't shot, actually, before high school, and I haven't gone to, hunting in the woods, fishing trips in over 10 years. So
high school so long ago.
I still eat fish. I still eat meat. So you don't have to consider yourself a hypocrite. It's only if you're oh, I hate hunters and I can't believe people kill animals. And then you rip off a carcass of hide from whatever you're eating with your bare hands.
Beef jerky.
Beef jerky, sure. The email continues. My parents were friends with a lot of local people who would come over and visit when we were down there. They would talk late into the night, my sister and I just listening until we were teens and old enough to contribute to the conversation. Often wild animals would be brought up. I never had any doubt that these animals existed. It was common knowledge that there were skunks, raccoons, bobcats, possums, and black panthers in the woods. Of course, I knew there were deer, squirrels, turkeys, and rabbits too, because we often hunted and ate them. I never had any reason to doubt the existence of any of these creatures, even though I didn't see them. To this day, I've never seen a bobcat in the wild, yet I have no doubt that they exist. The panthers were talked about in relation to the cattle that were farmed in the area. Sometimes a panther would take a calf. This was just accepted. One night, we were riding around, spotlighting rabbits, and my mom and dad would quickly hop out of the four-wheeler when they saw one. I was a teenager, I guess 14 to 15, when this happened. My dad, who was driving, had spotlighted a rabbit, which froze in the light. My mom grabbed her gun and jumped out of the four-wheel drive, stepped just past the open door to take aim. We all had our eyes on her when suddenly, out of the night, which down there is really dark and as there are no streetlights, just the stars and moon.
I mean, I hear that night is dark and full of terrors.
I hate you so much. A black panther brushed right past my mom. I made a small shrieking noise, and my mom instantly was back inside with the door closed. It was less than 3 feet from me and practically touched my mom. We all saw it right there next to our vehicle. Now, at the time, it was alarming because it was a large wild feline that could kill and eat any one of us, but we never knew that we were also seeing a legend. I was a grown adult in my late 30s when I found out that Black Panthers, quote, don't exist. Talk about shocking. I told my mom. My dad had already known this for a couple of years when I saw this on the television. This new information, and we just laughed because they damn well do exist. All the people down in the country know this. They see them just like our family saw one that night. Now, why don't we see them more often or see bodies or whatnot? I can only surmise it's because things rot fast down there. I never saw a living or dead bobcat during all these years I went down there, and I spent a lot of time walking in the woods, yet I know they exist. Also, animals tend to run away from humans, and a black panther isn't easy to see. They're nocturnal. No. That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're nocturnal, so they aren't out and about in the daylight, and as we found out the night we were going for the same prey as that predator, they aren't easy to see in the dark until they're right on top of you. No one to whom we recounted that story was surprised we'd seen one, not in the way they'd be surprised if we told them we'd seen Bigfoot or a skunk ape. They're just like, wow, that's interesting, not, that's crazy, panthers don't exist. My guess is that these animals are just melanistic versions of Florida panthers. Alabama is right next to Florida, and the climate is pretty similar to northern Florida. Science doesn't deny that there are melanistic versions of panthers at all, just that they don't live in the U.S. I say they're wrong because I saw one as close to me as my computer monitor is to me right now, and that's the story of how I saw a real cryptid. I swear on everything I hold sacred that this account of a panther sighting is true and accurate. That's pretty freaking good, man.
I've watched Tiger King, and, big cats are everywhere.
And there's a lot of tiger people, a lot of big cat people in Florida. A lot of big cat people. So I will say, I 100% believe you. I believe that there's a lot of indigenous species that wind up in different places that just breed and have a small number, a really low number, but are able to survive. And until, they're captured on video or caught outright, people are just like, yeah, that's not indigenous here, therefore it doesn't exist here. So I'm 100% on your side. I think you saw a black panther that night. So I'm happy nothing happened.
Yeah, because that's really scary. And we have a black cat, and we know black creatures are not easy to see in the dark.
You just see the eyes,
you
typically.
Just see their eyes, yeah.
Basically, if they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. So that's haunting and terrifying, and I'm really happy you sent that in. So if you have more stories, we definitely want to hear them. So send them our way.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next email here, and this one is from Faith, and its subject is cryptid? I don't know.
Interesting.
Nice. You got me. You got me pulled in. I love cryptids.
I'm hooked.
All right, so this one says, Hey. That's like that beginning intro theme song to Arthur. Have you ever seen Arthur? It's like a PBS show about an aardvark and his friends.
I've seen it, but I don't remember the song you're talking about.
The song goes like, hey, what a wonderful day.
Oh.
Hey. It's cute. Okay. Anyway, I found the pod on Spotify.
Shout out to Spotify.
And have been listening to y'all since quarantine started.
Nice.
I'm only on episode 45. That's pretty far into it. That's a lot of episodes. So I obviously have some catching up to do. Oh, and you can share this if you want. Nice. We're going to share it. This is shared. I was going to wait until I was all caught up to type to you guys, but after working a NOC shift, so is that like a night shift? NOC?
Non-official cover. She's a CIA agent is what she's telling us.
NOC. What is NOC?
Knock.
Knock?
You never heard of the knock list? You never seen Mission Impossible 1?
No.
Holy shit.
No, I have seen Mission Impossible 1.
I honestly don't know what knock means. I imagine it's like night or
I think it's a night.
I think it sounds like
I don't want to say night shift nurse because that's a hentai, but
wow.
I think it
sounds like midnights. Someone in the chat will tell us how wrong.
All right. So, after working an NOC shift and talking with my friend who is also working an NOC shift, shout out to my friend Slothy, I remembered something I'd locked away because it was so damn spooky. Slothy works in the area where I grew up, west central Minnesota, and was creeped out with how unusually dark and quiet it was. He said that he couldn't see the light at the end of the driveway of the house he was working at. Oh, so these nurses work on location, it seems like.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's one of those annoying farm lights.
So they are night shift nurses.
Oh my God, stop. And that he couldn't hear any frogs or bugs. Silence when there's no bugs is terrifying because that is absolutely unnatural. Because bugs, I feel like, always make noise no matter what. Or there's rustling or there's something, you know?
Agree. I've also heard that silence is gold and reap the harvest, but that's mainly because I had to write that. I used to get punished for talking in class, okay? It'd be like, it's quiet time now. And quiet time to me, I've always had to cover dead air. It's always been my thing. And if it was quiet time in 6th grade and I talked, my teacher would be like, Mr. Diaz, And he like do his finger gesture, make me come up to the fucking.
That's probably
front
one
of
of
the
the most annoying things when people do this. It's like
and say silence
no.
is golden, reap the harvest, write it 1,000 times.
What does that even fucking mean?
It's just like keep your fucking mouth shut is what it means. And then you make me write 100 or 1,000 sentences. So the first time I did it, I typed it up on a printer and just control pasted it, and I gave it to him. He's like, "You're supposed to write this." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get it." And so it's just like never again.
You're such an asshole.
I had to do it so many times. Anyways, I'm
All
sorry
right.
for interrupting you. Also, knock stands for nocturnal.
Ah, okay, cool. So he said he couldn't even hear or see the cars driving on the nearby highway, which he usually could. After he told me this, I remembered something super similar from when I was about 9 years old. I lived in the town, in the next town over, and it had a population of about 600 people. That is not a lot of people.
That's super low.
That's like my high school, my graduating high school, I think had 300 people at least.
My graduating high school had 500, and I lived
So
in a
it's
small
like
town.
600 people.
Total.
That's not a lot
It's
of
very
people.
small.
It's a tiny town. I had just found out some pretty heavy shit and walked to the park that was a block away from my house. I was angry and confused, so I decided to go and swing my frustrations away. When I read that, I was just like, it's like baseball, like swing life away, like, or swing, swing away.
It's a Rise Against song, I'm pretty sure.
I know Swing Life Away is a Rise Against song. Swing Away is from Signs.
So this person sits on front porches and swings life away. We got it. Okay.
So I think what this may be is like a swing, an actual swing. Okay. I stayed out past the street lights coming on, which was a huge no-no. All right. I remember that I would hear the sounds of four-wheelers, random cats, and even the campers from the campground behind the park until the street light came on. I heard my mom's voice calling from me in the woods. I thought maybe she came to look for me before she left and say everything was all right and that things would be okay. I don't trust it. Voice from the woods. It's somebody or something trying to talk
like,
you into
you come to me. Step out of the woods.
The voice was coming from the small stretch of woods between the park and the swamp-like lake. And like the dumbass I was, I walked towards the wooded area while calling out to my mom. I was almost to the edge when I tripped over something. When I collected myself and looked forward, I saw long knife-like fingers reaching out towards me.
What the fuck?
I noped the fuck out of there and ran home. I didn't tell this to my grandmother since I was already in trouble for being out too late, and I thought she would just say I was crazy. So I just went to my room and told myself I was just imagining things and went to bed. A day or two later was that creepy silence again as I was riding my bike to the library to ditz around on one of their computers when I saw the fingers again. This time, though, they were coming out of the air vents of the auto shop kitty corner. Is that the thing where they're across from each other?
Caddy corner?
Okay. From my house. They were violently shaking the old metal vents on the side of the shop. I ended up crashing my bike into the curb because I mindlessly started going towards the dark claws, but when I got back on my bike, they were gone.
Wow.
Ever since that experience, I would hear my mom call for me. I didn't live with her, and I knew it wasn't actually her. I always felt drawn towards the sound, though. It got so bad that I stopped walking around town alone. I moved away shortly after I graduated years later and haven't experienced anything like that since. Slothy believed me. He said that he had never felt anything like that, or like what he felt that night, and we deemed whatever the thing is the Meeker Creeper, since it happened in Meeker County. That's funny. That's a freaking good name.
And the creature would probably hate it too. So
what? I like it. It's like Jeepers Creepers, but like Meeker
Creeper. It'd be like, "Rrr." That's my
da- da-
official
da- da-
sound for your creature. Rrr.
Sorry if this is all over the place and makes no dang sense. It's been like 13 or 14 years since it happened, and I can't get it out of my head since it popped back in. I'm in the Facebook group, so you can ask me about it. Sorry again, and thank you for making my work days go by a little faster. Faith, thank you so much for sharing that. That is a creepy thing to run into.
Super creepy, dude.
Especially, I mean, when you're down and like someone tells you something absolutely horrific, you just want to get your mind off of it, and you just want to be alone, and then you hear this voice calling you from the woods.
It's like being downtrodden like attracts something like that to you, and then it uses that to exploit your feelings to try and offer you some form of comfort in a voice you recognize to lure you away. So I think this is another example of don't go in the woods, as the My Favorite Murder ladies say. Don't go in the woods. And I would say don't trust any disembodied voices that you hear, and stay away from razor sharp claws also.
Oh, yeah.
Toss those on there. So really, really good story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending that in. We appreciate it. All right, before we move on to the next story, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And we're back, and I'm going to move into my the third overall story of the show. Its subject is homegrown horror. So clearly they watch the show because they know what it's called. Starts out like this. Hey, guys.
Hey.
What up?
We're the guys.
We are. I have a story for you that would be awesome if you read in the podcast. First off, I wanted to tell you about some of my superstitions I had as a kid. So excited because I just did another superstition episode. One of the superstitions I had was that it was bad luck to pick wildflowers because the spirits, be it fairies or ghosts, slept in wildflowers.
Really?
And that was why they closed up at night, and it was bad luck because you were stealing a spirit's bed.
So, okay. I did not know that wildflowers close up at night.
They said this is their, superstition as a kid. So it's not like this is a widely known one.
No, but, do wildflowers actually close up at night?
Like when the sun comes out, they open up. You never heard the thing about sunflowers? Sunflowers face the sun.
Well, I know sunflowers, but their petals don't go,
They don't close. When they don't see the sun, they face each other. It's totally true. It's 100% true.
What?
You're welcome. Moving on. Another superstition I had is if you were walking through your house at night, you had to turn the lights on because I believed when you walk towards the light, you walk towards good energy and away from bad energy. But when you keep the lights off, you stayed in bad energy. That's funny because as a kid, I would leave the lights off. And walk around and try and toughen myself up so that when I got older, I could be like, you merely adopt the darkness.
Oh, God.
I was born in it.
Have you ever heard the song that goes cheer up, emo kid?
No. I've heard the song I Will Follow You Into the Dark, and that one's pretty depressing.
Oh my God, that is the opposite of my song.
Emo continues. Now that I told you about my dumb as duck childhood superstitions, I think they're awesome. I have a story about something that happened to me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had the constant feeling that something was following me, and when I looked in a mirror, I could always see a man wearing a long black cloak. He had an extremely long neck covered with crow feathers, and on his face he had a plague doctor's mask. I first felt his presence when I was about 2 years old, and I had tripped and fell on my fireplace. When I had tripped, I felt him try to catch me, but I still hit my head.
What?
According to my parents, I cried for about a minute before I stopped and looked at something they could not see. Unbeknownst to them, I was looking at the man who I had nicknamed Birdman because he was still next to me and comforting me by singing what only could have been a lullaby to me in Polish.
Wow.
I'm wondering how you know it was Polish when you were so young.
Well,
unless you speak Polish, in which case, duh, that's how you know.
All right.
When I was rushed to the hospital, my parents told the doctors what happened, to which the doctors were extremely surprised because the fall should have killed me or at least given me a concussion.
Shut the
but
front door.
But I only had a cut and a large bruise. The last time I felt the presence of Birdman was when I was 8, and it was the only time he had spoken to me. Birdman had woken me up in the middle of the night, handed me my stuffed monkey I had dropped when I was sleeping, and said, "I have to go now. You have a new guardian." I fell back to sleep, but when I woke up in the morning, I could no longer see him in the mirror. Since that day, the only presence of a new guardian is an orange cat that I have seen on the corner of my eyes, who looks hauntingly similar to the cat I now own today. Until this year, my family had only ever had dogs. I like to think that my current cat is my guardian angel who stepped through the veil into our world to keep me sane during COVID-19 and make me feel safe. Your podcast has given me something to listen to and feed my obsession with the supernatural. Feel free to read this on the podcast, and I apologize for any grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. Keep up the good work, Cece. Well, thank you for sending it in, Cece.
I think that's really interesting that what you saw was a plague
doctor.
Yeah. It's funny that you call it Birdman because the entire time I always think is it's bird person.
That's funny.
But it's so funny because right now I think the plague mask thing is just on fire in the whole...
I mean, we're living through a pandemic right now, so everyone's might as well wear the plague mask.
Exactly, and I can't believe how popular they are
I am yet to see someone in real life going out, but I haven't gone out a lot.
I would love to see someone walking around in a plague mask. I would just be high five.
Here's the thing.
High five, can't touch, social distance.
If you're in a plague mask, you kind of have to have the whole plague outfit for it to really fit. And it's been way too hot in fucking Vegas.
I can't wait for winter.
So once winter hits, I have a feeling I might actually see a few plague doctors walking around.
It would be so stinking cool. The pictures that I see online of people doing it, oh my God, I wish I could be that cool.
I mean, you could be. Just need to buy it.
Yeah, but it's so expensive. I looked on Etsy. They're so pricey.
Wow. Good to know.
I legitimately wanted one really, really effing bad. Okay.
Anyways, thank you one more time for sending that in.
All right, so we're going to get into the final story of the episode.
Final of the episode.
I fucking hate you. Stop it. Hi, Spoopy family. Hello.
Sup?
That's us and all of you. Katie again. I heard you guys read my last story on the pod, and when I tell you I fangirled, I fucking fangirled. My favorite pod, reading my story. I said that shit to everyone.
That's adorable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyways, you guys let me know that you wanted to hear about my true crime-ish, so let's dive into it, shall we?
Indeed.
I apologize if this is lengthy, but due to the incident, you need a little more info to understand. So I previously had a boyfriend that I had been with in high school. He deals with some mental issues, but don't we all? For privacy reasons, I'll call him Greg. All right. Hey, Greg. Well, Greg and I had a long relationship, and things seemed fine. He decided he wanted to join the Air Force and moved to Washington State. I live in Utah, and Washington State was where his family was located. Due to joining, he had to stop taking any meds he was previously on. That sounds
weird.
Like an awful idea.
Yeah, it does.
I was just assuming it would be a slight change. However, that was not the case. I flew out to him and he immediately was different. But I'm hours away from home with no way to get back, so I had to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. I have never traveled alone before, so I was already anxious. I then stayed at an Airbnb alone because he decided that he was too homesick to sleep away from his parents. He decides that we'll go camping for the last night I'm there because I had never been camping before. We drive about 2 hours deep into the woods. Usual camping shit, right?
I was going to say, like, fucking driving super deep into the woods with someone who's struggling mentally is kind of a scary thing to do.
That's terrifying. Camping already, terrifying. Camping 2 hours away from everybody, and even further away from your family and everybody that you actually know, it's just terrifying. Everything was going fine. We were buckling down for the night next to the lake. No one else was around for miles, while Friday the 13th scenes flashed in my head. I believe it. Absolutely. That's why one of the reasons I don't want to go camping, because you don't know who's out there.
Right.
Jason's out there just like, yo, what up? You know?
Hi.
Oh my God. He had left to cut some wood for our fire, and I felt super uneasy and couldn't pinpoint why. Chalking it up to the Friday the 13th scenes in my head, I giggled to myself for being paranoid. As I finished laughing at myself for being a dumbass, I feel a cool, sharp blade against my throat and a hot breath on my neck. I put down my book and asked what he was doing. He laughed dryly and asked if I was scared, realizing he wanted me to be scared. I sucked it up and said that if this is how I'm meant to die, then I'm ready. He pushed harder on the blade and blood started to trickle down my throat. Fuck that. He said, how about now? I said, if you want to be a pussy and kill me in the middle of the woods, then fucking face me. He realized then that I was not scared in the least. And he dropped the blade and had the audacity to ask, and I quote, wait, what? You're serious? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Like, yeah, buddy, I made peace with dying in your hands, and I'm the weirdo. Sure, dog. Oh, my God.
What a piece of shit.
I
get he's struggling mentally. Lots of people struggle mentally and don't put blades to someone's throat.
Kudos to you for being so calm, because I could not be that calm experiencing that. Especially if he had cut me, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck that. I hope you don't get any ideas. Just saying.
If someone did that to me as soon as they dropped the knife, I would have beat the shit out of them. That's uncalled for bullshit.
Needless to say, my first and only camping trip was over.
Yeah, that's like the end of camping forever for you, I bet.
He drove me to the airport and left me there 19 hours early. Alone, no car, no one there, nothing. I got home safely, and it didn't hit me until I was on the drive home how close I was to dying. I cried for hours uncontrollably. It's almost been a year since then. It's only almost been a year? What? This is so freaking recent.
It is.
What? Oh my God. You brave. That is crazy. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. Okay, it's almost been a year since then, and it's thankfully behind me. Thank you for continuing the pod. It's an amazing environment, and also thank you for taking the time to read my true crime story, round 1.
Oh, God.
Ooh. The story of my psychotic father will be sent in here shortly as well. Holy shit. Hope y'all are staying safe in these times, and most importantly, keeping it real.
We
Thank
will try.
you so much. That is just a terrifying
intense, yeah.
experience, and the fact that you went through that is just wow.
I'd probably file charges against someone.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
The fact that you didn't beat the shit out of him and like assault him back, like it's assault with a deadly weapon, 100%. You got your neck cut by him, and that's just something that's completely and absolutely unacceptable. So we're glad that you faced it with courage like that. I don't imagine how, but it's nice to know that you were ballsy enough and that got him to stop, because that's fucking bizarre, batshit crazy. It's weird to say if anyone else has stories like that, we definitely want to hear them, but I think sometimes when you hear a story like that, you might actually remember something and you want to share it, and if you do, this is definitely the forum for it. So thank you again for sending that in, and yeah, that's super intense. We're happy you're okay.
All right, so thank you everybody for joining us for the stream, and for everybody that sent in your stories and your homegrown horrors and shared those experiences with us, because it was pretty good stories tonight, if I do say so myself.
They typically are, and tonight was no exception, so it's always really fun. If you have a story that you would like to send in, please email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Facebook. You can also join the Spooky Friends group on there. Or you can join us on Discord if you would like to talk to us. Discord's the easiest way to join us on Discord is to go to scarish.com. There's a ticker at the top that says join us on Discord. Just click that, click the link, it'll take you straight to our server. Or you can hit us up on Twitter @ScarishPod or Instagram @ScarishPodcast. For folks who would like to donate to us, Robin, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. There's a whole bunch of different tiers, and tiers start at $1. So if you want to just get some ad-free episodes, do it that way. All ad-free. It's great. You guys don't have to worry about ads at all for $1. That's awesome. We also have some merch tiers on there too, which is great. And then you can go on over to Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast if you don't want to do the whole monthly subscription thing. Those are one-time donations, and all of your donations, no matter what, go to helping us upgrade the studio setup, help us create more content, help us get to creating more merch for you guys too, which is absolutely awesome. And we really couldn't do this without you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, indeed. That's just about everything we have for this episode of Storytime. So, Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.